Lucky Lefty Podcast, Honora Boys, we are in the building, and we are brought to you by Honora Whiskey. It is HonoraWhiskey.com, that premium American whiskey, HonoraWhiskey.com. And after a fantastic weekend that I'm sure everyone had, please make sure that you drink
responsibly.
Let's get it, man. Yeah, Lucky Lefty Podcast, Honora Boys in the building, brought to you by Honora Whiskey, HonoraWhiskey.com, that premium American whiskey, HonoraWhiskey.com. We're on the clock, Left.
That's right.
We're on the clock. 12 days. 12 days until the cleats hit the grass, the face mask bang against one another, and the pads get to popping. Man, it's already begun down south. Spring practice, South Bend. Time to get it. Lucky Lefty Podcast. I am Shaun Davis, SD2 Mics. That dude, the original Lucky Lefty himself, MALIK ZAIRE. We are brought to you by Honora Whiskey. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Hit that thumbs up. It helps with the views. Leave your comments, questions. We indeed respond to all. Social media, you can get with us at Lucky Lefty Pod, Instagram, X, TikTok. And we are presented by FanDuel. But don't forget to tap in on the audio side, courtesy of Bleav Network. Tap in audio edibles each and every day. We dropped a new episode this morning. Today, the episode that dropped was about the remaining defensive line targets. The remaining defensive line targets and the top ones in the 2027 class. We showed you and gave you great film breakdown of the top 5 guys that we think are must-gets in the 2027 class. 2 on the interior, 2 on the outside, and 1 that can go both ways. You can get that and much more of an Apple Podcast and Spotify. But we are presented by FanDuel, as I said. If you go over to FanDuel right now, you will find BJ Carr. Yep, he's the betting odds favorite to win the Heisman. And he's the returning starting quarterback for the team, co-favorite to win the national championship. A lot of good vibes around Notre Dame this spring. And you know what? For Notre Dame fans, it probably feels real good because that was kind of a dark valley to go through. That Sunday, that first Sunday in December. That first Sunday in December.
That's
and
right.
Then you had not only the first Sunday in December, but you had the aftermath of opting out of the bowl game and some other things. Whew. Feels good to be on the precipice of what should be a fantastic 2026 season. But you can find that and much more at FanDuel.com. Download the FanDuel app. Left, how was your weekend?
It was fast. Fast weekend, man. It's like we're already in March, mid-March. Things are moving quick.
Let me tell you something, man. I told you. I was on the grill yesterday.
That's right.
I did some ribeyes, salmon burgers, grilled some onions and some tomatoes with some peppers. Had some special burger sauce, homemade.
Special burger sauce?
Yeah, you know, did a little something. Me and my nephew messed with some spices, some different sauces, came up with something. A really good day. It was 70 degrees in Chicago, bro. That right there.
Wow.
Yeah, now this is you know, Chicago at its finest. It is 69 currently. Okay.
That's pretty good. That's like a perfect day.
Ask me what it's going to be on Friday.
32.
That's a darn good guess, bro. That's a darn good guess. Actually, it's going to be 50 on Friday, a high 50.
That's pretty. That's solid for the Midwest though. That's
That is
cold.
solid. That's solid. That's solid. I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining at all. That's what's up. Hey, MJ the Great said it's 74 in Maryland. Hey, we went through a total freeze across this country, bro. Everybody had, man, historic temperatures and snowfall in places that don't even normally get snowfall. So we all deserve the warm up from coast to coast. We all deserve it. So we hope everybody had a great weekend. Today's show, guys, tap in with us in the chat because today's show is going to be about two very important questions. And we want you guys to help us answer it. Which coach has the most pressure in 2026? Which coach has the most pressure in 2026? And then the second question, of course, direct correlation, which Notre Dame player has the most pressure in 2026? Which Notre Dame player has the most pressure in 2026? Love, I can't wait to talk about this, man, because I think it's going to be very interesting. We're going to bring up some comments from past press conferences, play a little film that I think correlates with the player side. But let's start it off with the coaches, Love. Undoubtedly, Marcus Freeman goes into his 5th year as the head coach of the Fighting Irish. And we did a show dedicated to whether or not fans thought he had underachieved, met expectations, or exceeded expectations. And, you know, you can look at it big picture and just immediately say he has exceeded expectations. But then one can look at the nuances and find different areas where you might feel like he's underachieved. Might even say he has a blind spot offensively thus far as a head coach.
That's right.
So for me, Left, when I really thought about who has the most pressure, I can understand somebody immediately going to Marcus Freeman. Immediately, especially, it's fair. And I had this discussion with someone. I don't care how you feel about the CFP committee. I don't care how you feel about the refs versus Texas A&M, how they missed the holding call on Heinrich. I don't care how you feel about Chris Ash. Notre Dame in 2025 was a football team that underachieved. They underachieved. Plain and simple. They underachieved. And with that in mind, one would be able to surmise that Marcus Freeman might be going into his 5th year with a heap of pressure. But I don't think he's alone on the staff. What say you, Left, when it comes to the question, who has the most pressure on the Notre Dame coaching staff?
Yeah, I think it's equally placed, but I also think Chris Ash has a considerable amount of pressure considering, everybody knows Mike Mickens' impact on the football team and leaving in combination with Al Washington and the changes that are being made. And, all signs point to Chris Ash being the guy that can change, but also maintain the level of greatness that we were able to see over the course of Marcus Freeman being here. So that's a lot of pressure considering Marcus Freeman's philosophy is built on what the defense has been the last 4 years. And the success, a lot of that is built on Al Golden having the time to put a system in with the same players that grew through the system over the course of the time. So it's a lot of pressure to be able to, for our instance, you can't just be good. So it's always harder when your expectation is better than what a lot of people will be happy with. So that being a top 5 defense when you're installing new principles, new schematic things and learning new players and trying to convince old players to do your new things. And it's a lot of transition where outside looking in, people would just assume, oh, this is easy because they got all the pieces. But you're installing a different level of philosophy in a lot of ways. And then you got your coaches who you've been with that you know, but they don't know. So finding that synergy of communication between the linebackers and your D line coach and all the new pieces, it's a lot of good ingredients. This is you're fully stocked with a lot of what you need. It's more about how to make it. Do we leave it in for 15 minutes? Do we take it out and let it simmer? Those are the things that make the difference in the meal, not so much the ingredients, because it's going to be good. But when you're at a 5-star restaurant, that's just standard. Being good is just what come with it. You got to make it look good, plate it right, temperature right, how to eat it, placement, all of that. So that's fine dining. I think that delivers a lot of pressure because we've seen Chris Ash fail or underachieve in a lot of aspects. That has a big reason why we weren't in the playoffs because of those first two games. The first two games, that was huge. That was pressure. And a lot of it wasn't your fault necessarily. You the new guy on the block and you required to do all the heavy lifting. That's some pressure. We understand. But this year, it's no excuse because of last year. We've seen them revert back to what we had to do last year, the year before to win. But this year, there is no reverting back to. It's we do this and we look like this all season, or we, whatever the case is. So that's some pressure. But like Charlie Parcher said, he's came to make peace and knows how to work out disagreements. So Chris Ash has buffered himself with some guys that say yes and know what he's talking about, which is good. But nevertheless, Notre Dame's not ready for the defense not to be top tier. They're ready for the offense to be top tier, meaning there's some growth, but we already just expecting the defense to just be there. Like the offensive line, we just every year is just we know we can start by looking how good we are, by knowing the offensive line is just going to be there. Is the defense going to be there? They're going to be good. But is top 20 the same as top 5? See, now that's the curve, and that's heavy pressure because anybody would say, yeah, top 20 defense is great. Chris Harris can't even say that. He in that 10% where he's like, man, top 20 is terrible for here. I got Marcus Freeman breathing down my neck with a top 20 defense. That's pressure. But, I think he's one of many different figures, but he's a big part of it.
You bring up two very good points, Lev. First, that was as a new DC, which you said a new defensive coordinator. Doesn't matter how good his players are, there's still going to be an era or a season of transition that is going to be difficult, especially when everything kicks off and it's no longer practices, live rounds. And most teams, like in the SEC, like to play the directional schools to work out the kinks the first 2 or 3 games, or even Indiana, who didn't play anybody, right? If you go watch Indiana's first game, man, there's no way you're watching that first game thinking this is a national championship team. However, Notre Dame came right out the box with 2 pressure cookers on the road at Miami, and then back at home against Texas A&M, 2 playoff teams. So that's a great point. That was a pressurized situation. Al Golden's first game was on the road in the horseshoe, left. That's just Notre Dame. That's Notre Dame.
Yeah.
We're We're gonna start you out in the pressure cooker. You don't get the easy cupcake games out the box.
But it's cool. It's interesting because it's not like you're going in there with just a sword. You're going in there with all the things you need to win. And then it just puts pressure on you as an individual because you're like, if we lose, it's because of me. Can't blame the first round corner, the second round linebacker. Can't blame. I got every reason to win. So I think that's what makes it tough is holding expectations. No different than LeBron James. You're slotted to be the chosen one at 17. I mean, and then to live up and what some would think live past expectations, which were unrealistic. Like, you tell a 17-year-old you're supposed to be the best. That's just they say it all the time now, but you actually, had to carry that weight. I mean, you playing national games it's just crazy. But to survive all that and still be hanging around, I mean, that's I think more pressure than just coming out of nowhere, being a guy that was like a Tom Brady, even. Tom Brady's like, nobody cared. I think it's just different because Notre Dame, everybody cares now. Like, everybody cares. Everything we do, everything we say, we can't do nothing right. Everything has got to be criticized. That's more pressure than it being, okay, they're Duke, who nobody cared about. They played good, but nobody cared. And then they win the ACC championship, and you're like, they're excited, but nobody still cares. You know what I mean? They still didn't make the playoffs. So it's like, I think that focus Notre Dame has is great because anything we do is going to be magnified. But we got to cash in on those opportunities. That means we have to have the pressure of, y'all think we're going to go undefeated? We went undefeated and beat them by an average of 30 points. That's what everybody expects. Now, 2% of college football could possibly do that. That's the thing. That's the irony in it. That's the irony in it. Nobody else has the expectation of winning every game and then doing it by a whole bunch of style points. And they scoff at us like, oh yeah, I mean, that's not hard to do. That's what I'm saying. That's why it's tough. Because people think it's easy. So Chris Ash, he like, man, I got everything you can ask for. And then I got SD2 Mics coming out here talking about, I don't know what he's running. I'm like, I got Little More. These guys don't know what they're doing. This is a whole nother. So he like, that's pressure. He like, SD, we finished the year with what? Top 5 defense, all type of accolades and players to watch for. And then SD gets on here. I'm looking at the podcast. SD talking about we underachieve, overachieve. Looks like Notre Dame underachieve. So now I'm like, well, what you want me to do, SD? He's like, SD, if I did this at Illinois, you would be singing a different tune. Oh, Chris Ash is the next up-and-coming DC. Boy, did you see how we finished the year? Lock down, lock up. But at Notre Dame, we got to do the poll of the day. Is this good enough? Or not, fans? Are we taking this? Are we asking for his head? Are we asking, is he on the hot seat? That's how crazy it is. So Notre Dame is one of those few programs where it's not about the numbers. Throw them out. Top defense don't matter. 10-game win streak don't matter. 30-point plus 40-point average on win games don't matter. You lost by 2 points in the first game of the year. You suck. Y'all not going to make the play. Nobody cares. So it's not about the numbers like it is for most places. It's about the moments. It's about meeting and surpassing expectations. That's why we shouldn't look down at the bowl game, because that's what everybody else would do. Our expectation was never the Pop-Tarts Bowl. So we're not feeling no way about not going. Everybody else is feeling a way because that's their standard. Oh, the seniors, oh, we got to kiss their butts and lick their feet after being 7-5 and in the Pop-Tart Bowl and da-da-da. No, Notre Dame's like, well, you didn't get it done. And this is not just for football. It's just school. Well, you didn't get it done, so we're going to move on, think about next year, try next time, but there is no participation ceremony after this. They laughing at us like, go to the what? The what bowl? You guys don't deserve it. That's what it is. So it's a perspective that people don't have because they're not in it. They say, why you like Notre Dame? I can't really tell you. You just got to go there. You got to see it. Notre Dame thinks they're better. No, it's just we can't achieve a certain level of success as an independent thinking like you guys. That's just the difference. We can't be acting like you guys out here trying to be successful as independent because it won't work. That's why BYU was on speed dial. What do you mean? What do you mean, USC? You have the luxury of going to the media and bumping your gums and hanging out at Big Ten Media Day with all your buddies and having time because you got money coming from the pot. You know what I'm saying? You can go to sleep and miss a couple of days of work because you got paid leave. But when you on the 1099, you gotta make plans. If I don't get up today, if I don't schedule this game, nobody's going to schedule it for us. So let me go ahead and do this proactive work. Get on this horn. Get to dialing up people who want to play. Because if USC can afford to talk that talk, because guess what that's going to happen? The conference is going to throw them a game. Hey, guys, you want to play this guy in schedule in conference? You know, we got options. We got options. You can play one of 6 teams we got available. Because you guys are in the group. Us, on the other hand, you got people trying to talk about freezing us out as we're trying to get another person to fill in the schedule. That's different. You trying to see who's gonna fill this schedule because nobody else is. At the same time, battling the mainstream news talking about, yeah, we're all gonna freeze Notre Dame out. They don't need to play anybody because it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like, that's different. That's why we can't act like y'all. We can't be trying to go back and forth with you, and then we mess around, don't get nobody scheduled, and then USC get the last laugh. No way. That's why we was ahead of the game. Y'all thought y'all was about to drop the news. Oh, yeah, USC, Notre Dame's fault. Oh, before you get ahead of yourself, let's drop this other game we just scheduled while y'all sit there and flail around talking about y'all need another game. So it's one of those things where you got to think 2 steps ahead. That's our advantage, only because nobody else is going to help us. They're waiting on us to mess up. And they're dissing us at the same time. And it's only funny because we just got to stand the wave. We just got to withstand the storm. And then they end up calling us back. They end up getting back on TV. You know, Notre Dame's not that bad after all, guys. We actually did some lunch with them. They, we had to do some apologizing, but it was all good. Because they're going to head our conference and bring all the ratings and talk to the, we got to be, so it's tough, but we're still in good standing. You know what I mean? We fought through a lot of different things teams don't have to do, and to still have a great recruiting class and be on the horizon. We fit what our expectation we give ourselves. Because it would only diminish ourselves by playing the Pop-Tart Bowl and agreeing with what all you guys want us to do. I mean, it's basically like we just don't want to do what you guys tell us to do.
Lucky Podcast. Left. Yeah, I mean, I gave you the runway and you slam dunked that. You killed it. I just want to play this from Chris Ash. This is what he said. I believe this was right before the USC game, and he was asked about how the defense was able to recover. And this is what he had to say. Take a listen.
You know, what most people expected and what we saw actually were probably two different things. I don't measure, our defense and where we're at off of 4 or 5 plays in a game. We knew all the good things that we were doing. We knew the few things that we needed to clean up. We had some younger players that were probably thrown into action before they were ready that needed to be developed. But we just built off the good things that we were doing, and we had to clean up some of the few things that were causing us problems. And we just needed to stay the course. And it's like anything else, in the leadership position, you either double down on what you're doing or you have to adjust, and we did a little bit of both. There were certain things that we knew that were going to work. We just needed some more time, and we needed to adjust a few things, but we weren't far off on anything that we were doing. We were just a little too inconsistent. And the problem with those inconsistencies is giving up explosive plays, and that's what we needed to eliminate.
And see, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, like he said, he just didn't have the schedule as a new defensive coordinator to come in and tinker around. Like he said, we knew what we were good at. We were consistent with certain things. And the bad part is our inconsistency gave up big plays, which is even bigger. It's an even bigger issue, because if you were just fundamentally sound in making mistakes, you would have minimized those mistakes from being such big plays, which is crazy because his whole thing when he came in is, I'm focusing on fundamentals. You remember when he said that, Love?
Fundamental only come in when you know what you're doing. When you're on autopilot as an athlete and you're not hesitating, that's when fundamentals come into play. But when you thinking about what you got to do, new calls, new communication, it's the first game, you're trying to get your feet under you.
Yeah.
You don't have fundamentals. You thinking too much, right? So you start making easy mistakes because you overthinking, and I think a lot of that just shows that you just can't, even with a great team, you just can't do whatever. Even though Leonard Moore's a first round pick, you still just can't tell him to do everything. So you still gotta have some synergy and a fit to the type of players you have. It's no different than offense. I'm not going to run, even if I'm a 2-time world champion, I'm not going to run my triple option offense with CJ.
Yeah.
I gotta do something different. Oh, you just not. So it's no different on defense. Like Leonard Moore was great at man. He started playing zone and looked different. Like you said, inconsistent. Went back to man. He ended up having 7 picks. Sound like an easy fix it's an easy fix when they're good players, because they're good at what they're good at. So that's an easy way to see you're a bad coach, because they're like, wait a minute, I know it ain't the players, so it has to be the coach. When you a bad player, it could go either way. Oh, just you get Dell Alexander. We just don't have the talent. We don't got the guys, But even with the Jeremiah Smith, it's like there's no excuse not for him to be doing good. So it's got to be the coach. It's like, what do you mean? He double coverage,
whoever's replacing Brian Hartline has an easy job this year.
Yeah, like we don't about this.
Real easy.
He can't easy. What do you mean he can't get the ball?
Yeah, Jeremiah Smith and Brandon Ennis coming back with Julian Sand coming back. Yeah, I think the wide receivers at Ohio State are going to be pretty okay this year. Lucky Lefty podcast. So I played that, and then I'm going to play this other clip, and then we'll go to the LL question of the day over at YouTube. If you have not gone to it, we put the link in the chat. Tap in, vote. We want to know what you think. Which coach is under the most pressure in 2026? Which Notre Dame coach is under the most pressure? The options we gave you in the poll are head coach Marcus Freeman, defensive coordinator Chris Ash, offensive coordinator Mike Denbrock, and wide receiver coach Mike Brown. If there's another one, you can put it in the chat. If there was a name but we didn't mention, please feel free to put them in the chat. I see somebody already put offensive line coach Joe Rudolph in the chat. We want to know. That's the LL question of the day. Go ahead and vote. The race is really close right now between two coaches, and the voting is still going on. And Marcus Freeman, he gave his thoughts on why things turned around defensively. This is what he had to say during the season.
People, like, I think I said it after the game, your standard's perfection, and it has to be that. It's never going to be that, but you can't be okay with that, right? Like, if you're not okay with it, now you have the capacity, understanding that let's find the answers to get closer to that. But, you know, I know who created this. I think the best thing for me in these 5 weeks was being with Coach Ash through good times, but now for a while was tough times, and saying, all right, I think I know the type of competitor and person he is and leader he is, but let's see. And I wasn't surprised one bit. And the ability for him to stay steady as the leader, to rally the troops, to make decisions defensive personnel-wise, schematically, to help us play with more velocity. That's what I've been most impressed with, and they'll continue to get better.
I'm sorry. Left, explain this for fans. The word buy-in. As fans, we might not know on the college level or even the NFL level what that means when you have so many diverse people in a locker room and you had a new coach that's coming in and trying to get you to do things a little bit different, not just on GP, but trying to get you different, trying to get you to do things different from what got you to the national championship game. Like, it's not like Drake Bourne, Jalen Sneed, Boubacar Traore, Bryce Young. It's not like they didn't know the path and the hard work that it took to get to a national championship. But all of a sudden, someone comes in and is saying, we can do this a better way. We can do this a different way.
Yeah, it's different because you got to convince people that have been there before, you know. And
but don't you have to convince the coaches first? I want to dig into this because we already know. We've heard Charlie Partridge. We've heard Aaron Henry. We heard Coach BJ, who was the only one that wasn't pillow talking.
Yeah,
with Chris Ash during the season.
Coach BJ, like, y'all, how y'all know each other?
Absolutely.
He walked
but the other two assistants, Chris Partridge said, look, I can disagree and not take it personal.
That's right.
Whoa. Where'd that come from?
That's right. Yeah, the ones that are still in there. Yeah.
Before we get to the players buying in, we have to ask the question whether or not Chris Ash had a problem with the coaches buying in.
100%.
So what he asked.
And you had to get some of the headstrong guys out, you know, in one way or the other. And, you know, you get the bigger problems out. I think you get the younger guys that, you know, get along. You know, they're going, okay, well, I guess we're going to go this direction. So some of that I think is just more strategic through building your front office and stuff, your coaching cabinet. On a player level is different, you know, handled different, but a lot of it is just you got to convince these guys, you know, you can take them somewhere. And, you know, Brian Van Gorder example, it just the news coming from the guys, it just felt like they didn't believe that what they were doing, they could take them anywhere. There was a lot of questions, a lot of uncertainties. They didn't like how it was ran. You know, his personality was different. So the belief has got to be there, what they're doing, and that's what Chris Ash has to relay.
I just think there were a lot of things, a lot of red tape that I didn't even think about that made it a very difficult path initially. To start out with those two games, the transition just naturally of having a new coordinator, having your assistant coaches used to coaching things a certain way and developing their guys a certain way. Now having to focus on different fundamentals and maybe not feeling like that's the right thing to do. We've been here. We just came from the national championship. I understand you're the defensive coordinator, but man,
That's what happened.
maybe you should listen to us because we know what makes these guys tick.
Especially if the main players that are looked upon are going through changes themselves. Where, okay, I'm getting the ball caught on me a little bit more, doing this new stuff. That's how I start. Okay, yeah, because nobody want to say it's my fault or they need to necessarily grow in an area. It's like, man, we running this weak coverage. I can't do nothing in this. I got to play over here. I'm getting the ball caught in my area. They thinking it's me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know it sounds silly, but that's how it happens. That's how it starts. And you start thinking, damn, I'm supposed to be consensus All-American. I can't be running this crazy. It's a belief thing. Because clearly it's not a knowledge perspective because Chris Ash has been everywhere. It's not like he's a first-time D coordinator where he's coming in with this new style of, defense where he trying new things. It ain't none of that. He's a well-documented guy, got a very good resume. Guys can be like, ooh, and all that. But these things you're teaching ain't fitting the game that makes me really good. And so until that can happen, I think that's where the synergy is going to come in. But you got some support. You got Charlie in there. You got your secondaries guys in there. So, and Aaron Henry especially saying I've played with under this guy. So he can give you a bigger influence in terms of, okay, this how it looks though, because I know playing in it what it looks like. It's one thing when you get like a Dale Alexander that can't run the route he's telling you to run because he don't really know how Denbrock does it because he ain't been, Aaron Henry's like, this is the technique. He probably not going to show you full speed or nothing, but he like, this is the technique because when I played, this worked for me in this defense. I just think that's a better correlation for a guy that's trying to learn something from a new guy,
Yeah, so like I said, the poll question of the day, go over to YouTube. If you haven't, you can vote. While you're over there, subscribe, hit that thumbs up, help us out with the views. Right now, it is a dead heat. Let me go ahead and refresh it because people are still casting their votes. And yeah, 37% of the vote goes to Chris Ash right now as the coach who has the most pressure in 2026. Marcus Freeman is second with 30%. Mike Brown is third with 19%. And offensive coordinator Mike Denbrock is fourth with 15%. I actually thought Mike Denbrock was going to get a few more votes left.
Yeah.
Especially with, someone that is definitely one of the options on the most pressure for a player, which is quarterback CJ Carr. Him having to transition this offense, I definitely thought fans would think Mike Denbrock deserved that vote, but it seems like the heavy votes are being casted on Marcus Freeman and Chris Ash, with Chris Ash leading the way with 37% of the votes right now. You can vote over at YouTube, Lucky Lefty Podcast. All right, Left. Before we get over to the players, let's tap into everybody and see what they said in the chat. Our boy MJ the Great said all 5 of the offensive line have the most pressure. You know what, MJ? I'm going to save that one for the next segment. because you started with this. Joe Rudolph and Mike Brown. He says Joe Rudolph and Mike Brown are his two coaches that are under the most pressure. The Joe Rudolph thing is, I guess one could say Joe Rudolph, this is a no excuse season because of the depth of talent. I could see someone putting Joe Rudolph up there to say, yo, you finally, it's about time for you to have an elite offensive line in Notre Dame. I just don't know if he has.
I mean, what's more elite than what he has right now? I mean, what does he have to do necessarily? I thought he did a pretty good job last year. I mean, I think the challenge is just different.
Did you watch the Miami game?
Man, I can't count one game isn't doing a bad job.
Okay, did you watch the 9 tackles for loss against Texas A&M? Yeah, you keep saying that's 2 games. The 2 games that mattered the most, the offensive line didn't get it done. So that's fair. That's very fair. Now I know it's hard. I know it's hard for you, Mr. Notre Dame, to accept that.
No, I mean, it's just like, what are we saying? I mean,
we're saying that elite offensive lines show up in big moments against good teams. That's what we're saying.
They got beat, and in Miami specifically, they got beat by better players in that moment. I don't think it was.
So wait a minute. Now we're trying to say that Notre Dame doesn't have the requisite players.
No, they do.
Offensive line. Okay.
I'm not saying it wasn't. Okay. I'm just saying we can't say it wasn't elite. Yeah, they lost some battles they shouldn't have lost, but I mean, you don't do that well in a season and then be like, we have such huge strides. I don't think there's huge strides to make.
And see, this is why I get upset with fans. Like people like we scored 49. They had 9 tackles for loss as a unit. Just because the outcome was 41 points does not dismiss the dysfunction and missed assignments. Do you know how many missed assignments you have to have as an offensive line to give up almost double-digit tackles for loss in a game? That's an issue. We can't just sit there and say, well, they put up 41 points, so there's no need to look at the effort of
some of those TFLs in Texas A&M were BS play calls now.
Okay, once again, that goes to whether or not Mike Denbrock needs to have more votes.
Oh, yeah, Denbrock's in there. We talked about Denbrock before.
That's why we put him on the list. But we can't just take the outcome and allow the outcome to eliminate the process. Offensive line play was not consistent against the best teams. That's the biggest issue. People will say, well, we ran for 2,000 yards 2 years ago. They ran for 1,800 yards, almost 1,900 yards last year. Jeremiah Love went to the Heisman. He was a Heisman finalist. And the offensive line still wasn't consistent against the best competition. You're not winning a national championship unless your offensive line can be consistent against the best competition. That's how you win big games. They lost the 2 biggest games because their offensive line wasn't consistent in those games. And the fact of the matter is, they're not really going. I don't see the game until November and December where the offensive line, from a talent standpoint, is going to be tested to see if they are consistent against elite competition. They won't get that test until BYU and Miami. That's later in the season. October, November. So I don't do that in life. I just don't. Just because we won, that's like you win a game and then you tell the players, we're not going to even play the film of the mistakes. How do you get better? You won the game, but how do you improve?
That's like you getting a bad report card and then you go home and clean up the whole house. You know, you cooked dinner and cleaned up the house, tightened your room.
Mm-hmm.
And your mom's like, but the grades.
Right. Right. Right.
But the grades, man, you cleaned it. Wow, the house speakers.
Right.
Dinner was great.
Right.
Boy,
It is anytime you have a discussion about the offensive line, people want to go to the results and ignore the issues that are pretty much linear for the last. I mean, you can go to 2024, 2025 and see the same issues and some of the same issues with the same players. Like, yo, you had that issue in 2024. Why is it the same issue in 2025? Go watch Miami's offensive line with the same players in 2024 with a better quarterback. And they were horrific because Cam Ward was running for his life the vast majority of the time. Come back with the same players last year, and that offensive line was vastly improved. Vastly improved. That's all I'm expecting. I need the offensive line that was able to produce a Heisman finalist and almost 1,900 yards with your top two backs. I need them to be even better this year because the talent dictates, and the talent is prophetic to say this is a Joe Moore award-winning offensive line. That's what the roster and the talent and the recruiting says. That's what it says. This line is talented enough to be one of the best offensive lines, one of the top 4 offensive lines in all of college football. That's it. That means they need to be consistent in the best games. I don't need drop-offs in the best games. I don't need drop-offs at the most important parts of the game. Heck, I believe Notre Dame is going to put up 40 points against Wisconsin week 1. But we still have to watch the film and give an honest assessment of whether or not the offensive line is improved. We still have to do it. Play to play.
That's right.
I think that's fair.
But I wouldn't say we wasn't elite.
The Notre Dame offensive line was not elite, bro. Stop. That's you know what? That's your problem, Left, because you still have the max player mentality it comes to football, bro. There were 4 elite offensive lines last year. The ones that were up for the Joe Moore Award. Those are the 4 elite offensive lines that did it against the best teams they faced. Notre Dame didn't qualify for that.
We didn't qualify for the playoffs, but we should have been in there. So we were actually in there. That's the crazy part.
Why didn't they qualify? No, answer the question. No. Why didn't they qualify?
I don't know how you go from 10 to out of it. I don't know. I can't explain that.
I do. Because all they need is a reason to keep you out as an independent, and they hate you, and you gave them the reason by losing your 2 biggest games. That's why they were kept out. We got to stop acting like we don't know that people have it out for Notre Dame. And like the SEC and the Big Ten and the committee doesn't have it out for Notre Dame. They do. So guess what Notre Dame has to do every year? As Marcus Freeman said, what's the mantra for this season that Marcus Freeman said back in December? Leave no doubt. Leave no doubt.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. We know what it is. We know what the atmosphere is. We know how the public feels about Notre Dame. It was quite evident this offseason. All the jokes, everything that was said, everyone saying we need to join the conference. For what? To make them feel better? And you were absolutely amazing when you said it early on in this segment, Left. You were absolutely right. When you flat out said, look, we can't afford to approach things with your mindset. That doesn't work for us. especially as an independent. That doesn't work for us. We got another vote for Joe Rudolph from Josh Miller. Got another vote for Joe Rudolph from Justin ND Sniper. Said, I say Rudolph has the second most pressure if he was on the list. You know, I kind of left him off the list. Let me tell you why I left him off the list. The talent, I believe the talent is just too good for them not to be elite this year. That's why I didn't put him on there. That's why I didn't put him on there. Point blank. So I see you in the chat. I'm not arguing Joe Moore Award. If you feel like the Joe Moore Award doesn't mean anything, and the fact that the finalists for the Joe Moore Award have won 3 national championships in a row, if that doesn't mean anything to you and you don't feel like it has a correlation, you're well within your rights to believe that. I'll make it simple. Was Notre Dame's offensive line better than either of their offensive lines in the national championship game? It's as simple as that. Was Notre Dame's offensive line last year as good as Miami or Indiana? If not, then they weren't elite. Because that's what you have to be. It's plain and simple. We don't have to dance around it. We can go straight to the national championship game. Were they good enough to be better than those 2 offensive lines? Because that's the offensive line play that you need to make the national championship game. It was simple as that. That's why we did the show on Notre Dame for the first time probably has the best chance to have a dominant offensive line and a dominant defensive line.
That's right.
For the first chance in a long time. First chance in a long time. Things are looking real good right now. Real good. From a coaching standpoint, from a talent standpoint. I did not put Joe Rudolph on the list because I just think the talent is too. There's no way Joe Rudolph can mess this offensive line up, bro.
But that's what I was saying. But that's what I'm saying.
I believe that. They're so talented this year. It's like, dude, and the schedule gives them a chance to build and get better as the season goes on for those tougher games. So I think he gets his first Joe Moore Award finalist for an offensive line. I think he gets it this year. I really do. I really do. That's why I didn't put him on the list. Because I think I feel pretty good about his group answering the pressure for him or helping him to answer the pressure that's on him. But I understand. Lucky Lefty Podcast. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Lucky Lefty Pod. X, Instagram, TikTok. Subscribe. Hit that thumbs up. Courtesy of Bleav Network. And we are presented by FanDuel. FanDuel.com. If you go over to FanDuel.com, what you'll find is that Notre Dame is the betting favorite to win the national championship, co-favorites. And you can find that and much more. NBA playoffs almost here. Wembanyama last night was absolutely amazing. The Euro step reverse dunk was crazy. Absolute crazy. You had the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Buffalo Sabres. Buffalo on the verge of making the playoffs for the first time in 15 seasons. Man, are you going to get them as a sleeper to win the Stanley Cup as the NHL playoffs approach? You can find that and much more over at FanDuel, FanDuel.com, or you can simply download the FanDuel app. All right, love. Question number 2. I didn't expect the coach question to get that much attention. The chat was on fire about the pressure on the Notre Dame coaches. Now we go to the player side. I'm very interested in hearing and seeing what everybody has to say in the chat. Who has the most pressure Which Notre Dame player has the most pressure going into 2026? Which Notre Dame player has the most pressure going into 2026? Left, the runway is clear for you, my bro.
I think it would be CJ only because of his expectation of what they want him to potentially do, and that's go undefeated, win a championship, and win the Heisman. Without the biggest thing I think he needs to prove is to be a closer, how to close games. Biggest thing that he doesn't have is that security blanket where you're up a bunch of points and you're like, all right, let's just start turning around and handing it off and running the clock out. We got two guys that are just amazing. You don't until I see another offensive bailout. I don't see another bailout other than CJ when it comes to, okay, we're at 10-point lead going into the fourth. Who do we go to close it out? Right now, it's just CJ. Before we had the running backs to close out games. That's why, it gets boring after a while. But those are important snaps because without those two, who else can we depend on a higher percentage to close those games out? And without those two guys, I don't know. Even CJ, you think USC game, the running backs closed it out when it got tight. That USC game could be a lot different if without a 94-yard run touchdown, without a 56-yard touchdown. And then you got 2 picks and struggling. Well, CJ, if you go 2 picks and struggling, who are we looking at? Faison's not going to win you games. It's just not happening. He's a great player, great role player, contributor, but he's not winning you anything. Jaden Greyhouse hasn't been available long enough. Aeneas Williams hasn't played. None of the tight ends played, except Ty Washington. He has 1 touchdown on the season. Eli Raiden had no touchdowns on the season. So who are we depending on, one, to score all the points, let alone close the game out if it's not CJ? Denbrock can call all the plays, but shoot, who do we have in any capacity? Who's going to score the points this year? Who's going to close the game? Because we know that CJ is right now just not capable of doing that. And as much as we criticize everything being on the first 2 games, he lost the first 2 games. I mean, being objective and all of that isn't, he lost. And threw a bunch of picks in both of them.
Yeah.
So I don't see a bigger catalyst to what can and all of that can happen. So it's important to see what players emerge, because right now the field is open. Yeah, we're going to be good, but who is going to be good?
It's amazing that the first name that came to my mind when I put the poll question up was definitely CJ Carr. Like, all right, CJ is the easy answer. Low-hanging fruit, honestly, if you want to be honest.
It's no different than 2016 DeShone Kizer. We had a good team. You had EQ, you had CJ, you had Miles, you had all the guys that end up being great, but everybody's young. DeShone got fat off of Will and CJ and Chris Brown and Amir and Durham and all. Next year, he got a whole new cast, talented, but a whole new cast. Kevin Stepherson's in there. He's young. So it's like, okay, 2016, you got ample talent. Ample. Receiver room pretty good. Everybody's pretty good, but what was 2016? The quarterback had to close games out. Just what it was. Wasn't like we wasn't good. Because those same group of guys with a different quarterback, they had a lot of success, you know. So it was the same group now. It wasn't too much different. So I think this is a similar situation where everybody has high belief in the quarterback, but the quarterback situation changed on the team, you know. You're not the guy that's just chucking at the wheel. They know you now. You're not the guy handing it off to Darian Price and Love. It's you now. And then all the guys that played a major part in all the things that made us successful offensively are gone. So we're talking about a bunch of Bobby Portises. They had a hand in the game, but they didn't make the game happen. Michael Gilbert, you know, he'll do a little something. Jaden do a little something. Aeneas do a little something. But who's getting the ball 20 times a game? That's the first question. Well, I mean, what? CJ gonna be the biggest distributor in the world? He gonna be like a vending machine. He has everything. He's getting the ball to 8 different guys. That's not realistic. We can't win with Faison alone. We can't live off of bread and wine alone. What? can't live off of the Faison and Great House alone. You gotta. But the thing is, we have it, but nobody knows who it is. It's like, where now I know, you know, Denver's gonna scheme up something. He's very excited about what he has, but that's like that. I mean, it's just it's interesting. It's definitely 2016 comparison.
Actually, the SHAUN Kaiser comparison. That's, you know, yeah, Deshaun. It was his second year as a starter, coming off a pretty good season.
He had to win games.
Yeah. Like, he had to take the mantle. He definitely had to take the mantle after losing a lot.
Because who was he going to throw to? Who was he going? Who is like you didn't have a will, so it's not like that was like 3 touchdowns in the game right there. So, you know, you have more decisions to make in a game because nobody else is there. So then what happens? Should you just those little mistakes, you know, that you wasn't relied on before? That's what I fear for CJ. He wasn't relied on the foundation of winning the game. You know, it was like, CJ, just don't lose it. Throw a couple big passes, you know, manage it, check, all that. But you're talking about 2 guys that was putting in the work, you know, grounding out tough 3-and-outs and stalling, you know, getting nothing on offense. But then those 2 were the catalysts. You know, CJ make a good couple plays and it's hand it off. We get down there, you know, it's just, I just think they just played a major consumption of who had the ball. You know, all these guys we got ain't had the ball. They just like complimentary, you know, I got my 2 catches in, you know. But we're talking about averaging 40 points a game. You talk about Omar Cooper and Fernando Mendoza, those are names, you know, those guys that touch the football. So we can't, you know, CJ got to make stars out here. That's just really what it is. And nobody wants to give it the proper justice. He has to make stars out here.
He has to be super efficient this year. Super efficient.
Either like, high volume or super efficient.
Yeah. One
or
the
other.
Yeah. I would much rather see him super efficient. I would much rather see him be super efficient. Just when you get the opportunity, don't miss. Just don't miss.
Yeah, I think it's either gonna be CJ averaging 35 passes a game. Like we 5 wide, we just win it or nothing. Or we attempt to do this whole balance thing, but we'll just fall short because when we play good teams, I don't think we have enough to rise to over the occasion of we need a dog out there. I think we just gotta at this point. I don't know who's out there that's like, all right, if it get tough, we're throwing
you go to the semifinals. Chambliss was a dog. Keywan Lacey was a dog.
Yeah, I mean, he was making plays.
Tony was a dog. Like you're right, Left. Offensively, you need a dog somewhere. There has to be a guy
because we can pitter patter with all these teams because they just not talented enough. We just got attrition on these other teams. We just throw you a wave of better recruited players at you. Like that works for 80% of college football because they just don't recruit enough. I mean, you throw a Micah in there, a Burris, the 2 transfers, you throw them some phase on, and then you throw Aeneas at them. I mean, that's a lot.
But don't you feel? Let me tell you something. Along that point, I felt really excited to hear Kari Adams talk about Micah Gilbert.
Right. That's why I keep saying his name.
But he once again, he's like the wide receiver version of Charles Jagusah. Like, bro, you got to stay healthy.
I mean,
you got to stay on the field. Like we always hear about you, but then you have these little nicks and bruises that keeps you out of games. I think he can be one of those guys. I really think he could be one of those guys. But the wide receiver room is definitely going to be interesting. Let's look. The chat has some great comments here. This is interesting. Sean Stewart, thank you for tapping in, my brother. He put Williams with a question mark. I want to expand that, Left. Is it pressure on this running back room following the shadow of the 2 guys that are getting ready to go to the NFL? Is that pressure replacing Jadarian and Jeremiah?
Well, it just depends on what we're doing. Are we playing 5 guys? Are we doing a 2-man rotation? We're not obviously expecting them to be the driving force of the offense necessarily, but I think if anything, it's more on the individuals trying to eat up as much time on the field as they can because what's the expectation? You're gonna be a Doak Walker runner and have the second best running back available. I mean, I don't know if that's what Jawan Sider's thinking he has now. So if it's not that we can't aspire to be, but that's just rare, man. At least you need a 3-year gap period before you start thinking you coming across. I mean, that's just hard, I mean, who else is doing that on a consistent basis? Nobody. So it's like, okay, that was what we did. Now we want great expectation, but everything's just changing because the offense is trying to go through CJ. So who can play the best? Who can block? There we go. That's probably what's going to happen. Who can block?
Pass blocking is going to be huge.
Who can be a home run hitter when we need it in the role is just reversed. I think the receivers take the role of the running backs' importance, and the running backs take the role of receivers' importance as it pertains to this year coming up. So it's an unknown. We're not used to seeing running backs take the Robin to the Batman in the movie, So this is new if we're living up to CJ being what we in FanDuel think he can be.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very important for this team to find those guys. Like you said the wide receiver room has to produce 2 guys, 2 go-to guys this season. You said that. Like, out of the wealth of talent that they got through the portal and recruiting, if you can't get 2 guys this year, this goes back to Mike Brown being under pressure. And part of the poll question, like, yo, if you can't get 2 go-to receivers this year, we might have to rethink some things as to why development has been an issue. Let's go to Josh Buffo, who has an interesting comment right here. Let's see. It's pressure if they, I don't know what just happened to my eyes right there. It's pressure if they expect one person to do it. If it's running back by committee, like I think it'll be, takes the pressure down, in my opinion. It's pressure if they expect one person to do it. If it's running back by committee, like I think it will be, it takes the pressure down, in my opinion.
Yeah, they pressures about not losing the game. You know, don't fumble.
Yeah.
Don't do nothing that's gonna get in the way of us winning through CJ. You know, help CJ.
Yeah.
Last year was like, you know, the expectation was heavy because it was shoot. We need a play. We handing it off. We throwing a swing pass. This year it's like just play good when your chance comes.
Yeah.
But it's even more important not to mess up. You know, you had some leeway last year. Jadar ain't fumble. Okay, dang, don't do that next time.
Yeah.
One of these dudes fumble. Shoot, we got a lot of guys that just replace you. I mean, it's we ain't got. If I'm Cider, I see one fumble. Oh yeah, I'm going with, you know, go down the roster, pick a guy. So that's where the running back, in my mind, their mental is. It's like, shoot, this is a very up and down roster. So I know it says 1, 2, 3, but shoot, anybody can be these 1, 2, 3, and it should. But I just think it's a total reversal, you know, from the receiver room, where the receiver room is wide open. But now we need actual dudes, though. We need a Darian and a Jeremiah Love in the receiver room.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, that's what we need.
1-2 combination like that. That would be nice.
We need a Jadarian and Jeremiah Love in the receiver room, and the running backs just be there and he be efficient, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then if a star come.
MJ the Great said 1 CJ, 2 Christian Gray, 3 wide receiver room. Cajun Iris says CJ Christian Gray is a good choice. Yeah, I like those guys. I like those. The Christian Gray thing, I think, goes without saying. For him, it's just consistency, bro, because he's already proven to be a clutch player. He comes up in big moments with big time plays. Now it just needs to be down to down, series to series, game to game. Can you be as consistent and make those plays on a consistent basis? MJ the Great brings up Bryce Young is 4 for him. Bryce is fair. I was thinking about the defense. Everybody that came up in my mind was offensively. If you go over to the poll question, which Notre Dame players under the most pressure in 2026, the options are Jaden Greathouse, CJ Carr, Christian Gray, and then I put other, if anyone had another name. Let me tell you why I put Jaden Greathouse up there, bro. The end of the 2024 seasons, specifically in the playoff run, Jaden Greathouse had expectations. And now I just don't know, with them going into the portal as heavy as they did, I kind of question whether or not they view Jaden Greathouse the same way, Left. That, for me, I'm like, yo, if they really felt like Greathouse is going to be that dude, and the fact that they went and got Will Pauling to come in, play the slot, play the same position as Greathouse. And not only that, he became a captain on the team. So I'm asking the question like, yo, like, should I just not read into this? Or is there something here? Like, yo, there's some pressure for Jaden Greathouse to actually kind of meet the expectations that everybody had for him going into the 2025 season and manifesting that in 2026.
Wow.
I think it's pressure on him, bro. You don't go out and get Quincy Porter, Mylan Graham, bring in the 5-man class you brought in. Micah Gilbert is coming along.
Is it pressure? It's not really dependent. I mean,
it's pressure if he wants to be the dude, then I'm sure he thinks he's supposed to be.
CJ got to get on with his guys, man.
Who are those guys, though?
I don't know, man. It's hard to tell. He just depended so much on the guys, all the guys that left. If Malachi came back, that would be tremendous. I would feel much better about what we have offensively. But even now, you can't even think of who's going to be the starters. Who can you honestly say, other than Faison being out there, is going to start first game?
Faison's a starter. So we're just going 3 wide receivers, just 11 personnel.
I'll even give you 4. We'll go 10 because we feeling froggy.
Okay, go 10 personnel. Oh man, left. This is That's the problem. I would love to go see the first practice, and then you ask me that question.
We can't even guesstimate. That's what like makes it. So what you think CJ thinking? He like, shoot.
I'm going to say Jordan Faison.
Yep.
Mylan Graham. No. Yes, Mylan Graham, Quincy Porter, Jordan Faison, and Jaden Greathouse.
See, that's calling some upheaval. That's calling some upheaval.
And I can't, I know my boy, I know Cam Williams would be upset with me saying that. Cam Williams is under pressure. Like
Cam Williams, is he even in the mix?
Whoa. I'm tripping. Wait a minute. No.
See?
Hey, Quincy Porter out. Micah Gilbert is in there. Quincy Porter is not even participating in spring, which means
we talking about first game. No, because we know spring don't mean nothing.
No. I'm going Micah Gilbert regardless. Matter of fact, let me take this over.
Here we go. Let's do it over. Okay, let's do it. Faison's in there for sure.
No, I'm saying Micah Gilbert's name first.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Micah Gilbert.
High expectation.
Then Jordan Faison. Then Mylan Graham. Because I think Mylan Graham's going to end up being the boundary guy to start off. I think Micah Gilbert is going to be the guy they move all over the field. He can play boundary, he can play field, he can go in the slot.
So where's Jaden?
I think they're going to try to get the ball in Micah Gilbert's hands. Now, see this. I think Quincy Porter and Jaden Greathouse end up battling it out.
One of them Buckeye kids is playing.
Yes,
one of the Buckeye kids.
Yes, so that's why I gave it to Mylan Graham.
One of the Buckeye kids.
One of the Buckeye kids.
You got so many other options, though. That's the thing.
And you just have to say JG because we don't know. Look, it could be our boy, though. It could be your boy, the true freshman that everybody's talking about. You love this film. You said he was different. When we asked, could he be the Malachi Tony for the offense?
Who?
Bubba Frazier.
Oh man, see that's what I'm saying. Like, cause if we really doing it for real, I'm putting Bubba over Faison. Thank you for your service. Play lacrosse sometimes, but I'm thinking like biggest impact, big on many levels. Bubba got to be in there, man. Faison just mentoring. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Just be you be in there, but we need Bubba in there if we talking about being a threat. Like people watching us and being like, "Oh, I don't want to play them." Like. So Bubba, if we doing it, if Denbrock like I don't care about nothing, I'm putting out the best. I don't know politics. We playing the best. I'm going Bubba. I'm going one of the Ohio State dudes, maybe both. I haven't seen both. See, that's the thing. I don't know, but one of them got to play because of contractual agreements and all that. And you know, we
got handshake agreements through the portal now.
Yes, one of them is playing. That's just I don't know how you got both of them without saying that. So one of them got to be out there, and that's just
and they committed to going to class too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We got a price to pay. So one of them Ohio State dudes, Bubba. I want Micah to be in there, but Micah got to want to be in there. He ain't available. So. And then I'd throw in a dark horse, just Birds. I want one of them. Just make it.
Oh, I forgot about EB. I forgot
just
about
make
EB.
Make it something that the fans ain't expecting.
That's a good sleeper, left. That's a good sleeper. EB is a good one. That's a good one, left. That's a good one.
But they gonna. But
forgot about EB.
I don't believe Faison got more ceiling than the guys that we, probably are expecting to come play. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's the thing. CJ, I wish we didn't rely so heavy on the older dudes throughout the season. Once we knew he was coasting, man, we need to see what these young guys look like. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
It was amazing when you think about it, Left. It really is amazing to think about where they are offensively. It's really a crossroad of sorts, if you really think about it. I think it is a moment for Marcus Freeman to kind of lengthen the leash, take his hands off the reins, or stop pulling on the reins so much offensively. Because like you said, when you go out and you get 2 wide receivers from Ohio State and you get 5 wide receivers in recruiting, like you're pretty much saying or showing your cards to say, we need to get more explosive in the passing game. We need to become better in the passing game. And then you ride out with your boy Mike Denbrock and CJ Carr when you make the decision that he's your starter. So yeah. I know Mike Denbrock, based upon the conversation we're having, I just don't see how people aren't putting Mike Denbrock first with the pressure for coaches. Because Marcus Freeman isn't going anywhere. Of course, he wants to win a national championship. Chris Ash has pressure to kind of redeem himself in the eyes of Notre Dame fans, but everything you've laid out about CJ Carr and the pressure on him, and then the pressure on the wide receiver room that people are mentioning in the chat, that points directly to offensive coordinator Mike Denbrock, in my opinion, Left. It just does.
I mean, it's a lot of work to be done, but it's pressure. But is it pressure? I mean, your schedule's good. Your pressure is really second season, really. I mean,
I mean, that's when the real pressure shows up in Notre Dame anyway, because like you said, Notre Dame is all about getting to the dance and winning, bro. Like there's no conference championship game, no participation trophies to put up.
I don't think he's under pressure of losing his job.
No. I'm just talking about pressure. Like people say, Marcus Freeman. What is the pressure that Marcus Freeman is under other than finishing the job and winning a national championship? The man just got a new contract. NFL teams want him. That he's not under pressure for his career or to prove that he's a top 5 coach. He's already become a top 5 coach in college football. Like, what is the pressure that's on Marcus Freeman? I understand people voting for him, but take a step back and ask yourself, what really is the pressure? What is Marcus Freeman proving right now other than he's a championship coach?
Yeah.
You know, and based upon what you and everyone in the chat is saying, there's tremendous pressure on this Notre Dame offense this year. So if it's tremendous pressure on the offense to replace the 2 running backs, tremendous pressure. To develop 2 guys, go-to guys in the wide receiver room, tremendous pressure. Bringing up Joe Rudolph in the offensive line, tremendous pressure. All of that. Who's the maestro? They have individual position room coaches, but who's the maestro to put it all together? Who's the chef, as you would say, Left, in this 5-star restaurant?
Yeah, I mean, that's the question. Who's the head guy going to be?
We're trying to get a Michelin star here.
CJ didn't have enough, in my opinion, experience as, all right, guys, I'm going to be the guy that's going to bring us over the hump. So not his fault, but then it just, goes back to moments. I just think he's got to play his way into that belief that he's the reason for the season. You can't go in there coasting thinking, okay, we can just hand it off and I'm going to just do what the play says. It's like, nah, it's just not going to be enough.
Yeah.
I mean, everything with us is just more mindset, and understanding their role shift.
All right. Lucky Lefty podcast. Well, that's it today. You guys were fantastic. Absolutely fantastic, especially during the coach part. Bringing up some great points. We thank you all for supporting us as always. We are presented by FanDuel. Go over to FanDuel.com and download the FanDuel app. And we are courtesy of Bleav Network audio podcast each and every day. Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Tap in with us. Set yourself up for automatic download. So as soon as we upload the show, it'll come directly to your smartphone or whatever you plug in. Whether it's your laptop, your desktop, your iPad, you'll make sure that you get it. And that notification will pop right up. Once again, hit that thumbs up. It helps with our views. We greatly appreciate you guys. And so we'll be back tomorrow. I'm super excited because now we'll be down to 11 days. 11 days until the pads get to popping. Starting tomorrow. So we'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, 5:30 p.m. Central Time, right here, Lucky Lefty Podcast. For that dude, the original Lucky Lefty, Shaun Davis, we love you. Continue to love on each other. But most of all, make sure that you continue to spin it different. We'll see you tomorrow.